Hello, welcome back to the Mama Words. This is my second video and I'm really excited to share with you my friend Bethany Miller. She is a mother of 3 kids and 2 are twins, and she has some amazing insights into family with twins and how they make their choices and the decisions they make. I am so grateful for your patience in between my first interview and my second. I have a lot more content coming soon. It has just been an absolutely insane summer between my daughter's birthday parties and my work schedule, so I'm really grateful that you guys are continuing to support me and subscribe and to share those things with your friends and family, and I think that you're really gonna enjoy getting to know Bethany just like me, so stay tuned. Bring it on. Thank you so much for tuning in and for checking out my second video. So this is my friend Bethany Miller, and she was so gracious to invite me into her home and feed me dinner and delicious taco salad and take in my daughter tonight, and I'm really excited for you to get to know her and her story. She is a wonderful mom of 3 children. So why don't you start off by telling us, Bethany, your age, where you come from, how long you've been married, and how many kids you have.
Okay, so I'm 29. I'm from Fort Edward, New York, and I have 3 kids, twins, boy, girl, ages 4 and a half, and my youngest daughter is 1 and a half.
Okay, wonderful. So did you always see yourself as becoming a mom or a mom of twins when you were growing up, or is it something that took you by surprise?
Twins, I don't know that anybody expects twins. I definitely saw kids in my future, but it wasn't something I had strong feelings about, like, must be a mom by this age, my life's gonna go down like this. I didn't have strong feelings like
so your
that.
identity wasn't tied up in, like, I'm gonna be a mom.
No, I always worked with kids growing up, so I think that should have told me a thing or two about what our family was gonna look like, but I didn't really know what to expect.
You were newlyweds and you and Chris decided to start a family together. Tell me about some of the factors that led you to begin to plan your first pregnancy.
Okay, well, really what happened with us was we, at the same time, felt like our attitudes, like our heart towards having kids was changing. We weren't in a hurry to have kids. We were enjoying our married life. But really at the same time, out of nowhere, we felt like God was leading us to start our family, and so we decided to start that journey.
Right, and you have lots of support during that time, like family in the area and brothers and sisters.
Yes, that was one of our reasons to having a family younger than some people do. We wanted our kids to have time with their grandparents. I had the privilege of being the oldest grandchild on one side of the family, so did my husband, and I always thought to myself that I had it the best because I had the most time with my grandparents.
Right, of course.
So I wanted our kids to have that, and we also wanted to start younger rather than later so that we could have our energy with us.
Right, that makes sense. What kind of fears did you have before you became a mom about motherhood that you didn't know you had or that you worked through?
Well, in my late teens and even at age 20, I thought that you couldn't get married or have kids until you were perfect. I felt like I had to know enough or be a certain something, and then we had just a lot of upheaval in our life. My husband and I, when I was 21 and he was a little bit older, and it was really transformative. It taught me that we grow into the people we need to be through the trials in our life, not from waiting to be perfect and then pursuing them. We grow by doing, and even from pressure. I personally grow under pressure, so having children and being a wife, yes, there are trials in that, but there are also blessings that you don't experience unless you decide to commit and walk through that.
Wonderful. So when you first found out you were pregnant, what were some of the feelings that you had about your first pregnancy?
Okay, well, my first pregnancy actually ended in miscarriage, so there were a lot of emotions. First, excitement and shock. Even though I was trying to get pregnant, I went to the doctor thinking something else was wrong with me, and they just told me that nothing was wrong with me, that I was just pregnant. So
no home pregnancy tests. You find out by surprise at the doctor.
No, yes, I went to the doctor, and So I had excitement, and then I don't remember why, but the feelings actually turned into remorse after I found out. I don't know if I began to think about my concerns and fears, or if I just was grieving the change in my life. But my feelings changed, and it could have been the hormones involved in a failing pregnancy. But it felt so surreal, and I had a hard time being thankful for what was happening and attaching emotionally to this abstract baby that I hadn't even seen yet.
Right. That you were pregnant with twins. What were your feelings and reactions then, and how did that happen for you?
Okay, so I had taken a pregnancy test while I was at work because I couldn't wait to find out if I was pregnant again.
So you kind of felt like this time, more than the previous time, that you could possibly be pregnant.
Yes, I had learned some cues about my body, and I also suspected I was pregnant with twins. I grew immensely in the first trimester, and my clothes were not fitting already, and it was just unbelievable, to the point where I said to my husband, I think this is twins.
So
and he laughed.
You kind of called it.
I did, and he laughed. He said, I'll believe it when I see it, and
Right.
we ended up seeing it at my first ultrasound appointment.
Now, was that at did you use the same doctor as you did for your first pregnancy?
I did. I started local with all of my kids, and then I transitioned to hospitals and practices that I'm more comfortable with at 20 weeks, but it was the same office. And
so how did it make you feel to go back to kind of that same place?
it was hard. I went to the same ultrasound room with the same tech who had found my miscarriage, and it was hard to walk through that again, not knowing what the ending was going to be.
Yeah, of course. So you're kind of going into it nervous, and then you come out of it with twins.
Yeah, it was a happy ending for us, and I cried from all the emotion that I was carrying, and my husband laughed. Because I was right.
And he laughed.
Yeah,
That's
what else can you do? You cry or you laugh.
So when you took that news to your friends and family, how did they react to your news of having twins?
Okay, well, my parents were on their way to vacation driving, and we have twins in our family, so when my mom heard me say that we were having twins, my mom thought we were joking. My dad almost drove off the road.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone was absolutely thrilled for us, especially after our loss. There was even more joy and
that's wonderful.
and
You have so much
thankfulness.
family to rejoice with you, even through your sorrow.
Yeah.
So as more people found out about your twin pregnancy, what kind of comments did people make to you
Okay.
about maybe your size or shape or life decisions?
Most people are like, wow, and they were overwhelmed at the thought of having twins, because not everyone does.
Right. It's not something you choose.
Yeah,
Apparently.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing that I share with people who would kind of smirk, like, haha, they're having two, this is going to be a lot of work. I'm like, you don't get to choose. You
Right.
could be the next person who has twins,
Wouldn't
and then
that
you'll
be
have to
great?
come to grips with it and all its trials and blessings.
It's true.
So as things went on in the pregnancy, that's when strangers started commenting. So I like to say that I became a baby spaceship with two kids inside of me. Yeah. I gained like 65 pounds, and I had 52 inches of baby around me. And so we'd
That's a
go
lot.
places, and I'd walk in an elevator and people's jaws would drop because my belly came through first, long before the back of me did.
Right, yeah, of course.
And they would say, whoa, or, just, I became an attraction, and I did not realize that was going to be part of the package everywhere I went.
Right? It's not something you signed up for. And I think it's crazy, actually, how people think that commenting on your body is okay when you're pregnant, when it's actually never okay to comment on somebody's body. But you never know what another pregnant mom might be struggling with in terms of body image or even accepting their own pregnancy. So
Yes, I felt that I was doing something amazing, and so my body was going to look amazing. I mean, in a funny way, but not having body image issues myself, I can see how prior to pregnancy, I can see that someone who has to grow to that size to provide life for her kids how that can be a struggle, because you definitely, it takes a toll on your body more than one.
How did you and Chris decide to expand your family to your next pregnancy, to your third child?
Okay, well, I noticed from other twin families that I met that once you get to a place where maybe the kids are completely potty trained, things start to feel easier, that some people never go back if they don't take the plunge around 3 or 4 years.
Once you get out of diapers, there's no buying them again.
Yes, and I've interacted with many people over this, and they said once they got to that point, they were just done. So I kept that in my mind, that if you wait too long, you really get comfortable.
Right.
But Chris and I always knew that we wanted to have a family of more than 2 children, if God would allow that, for many reasons. One, we think children are a blessing, and they bring difficulty. It's not easy to raise kids, but in the big picture, our kids are a blessing and will be a blessing to other people around them.
And of course, you're bringing them into a loving home, and you chose this, so.
Yeah, it was a positive thing for us. Not that it's easy to have 3 kids. The more children you have, I think your life changes with every child that comes into your life, and you have to know that things are going to change and not look the same. But also, we wanted our kids to have the support of siblings as they went through life. We've seen the blessing that it's been in our family for our moms and our dads to have more than one sibling as they went through illnesses, or they went through caring for an elderly parent. Is it harder to have 3 kids under 4
Yes.
or 5? They're under 5.
I'll say yes.
Yes, Sarah knows it is hard, but I think it's important to look at the big picture and not just the small inconveniences that you will have to go through, because they are really going to be a support and a resource to each other as their life unfolds.
Right, and the little years are so short in terms of the long lifespan that you have to enjoy with your children, even as adults or second-time parents.
Yes,
so.
it's hard, but they're going to enjoy each other, and we look forward to enjoying them for a long time.
What kinds of mom shaming did you experience in terms of like how people feel or impose their opinions about growing your family?
Well, our friends and family, of course, were supportive, but I found that for most people, when they get past 2 kids, you will start to deal with comments about, you're not done.
Did you plan this?
Did you plan this? People think that anyone who has a 3rd child must have goofed up along the line. I find that you get the most weird reactions from people who maybe stopped at 2. And I know, I'll just be honest, like...
Well, especially because you have a boy and a girl, and our society seems to feel like if you have both, you should be all set.
Right, which, I mean, all children are a blessing regardless of their gender, and that just needs to be said. Like, kids are not better because they're a boy or a girl.
And you're not more complete because you've had both genders now.
No, God gives you what He gives you for a reason, and it's for us to appreciate and not, ask each other.
Having had a twins pregnancy followed by what we call a singleton pregnancy, what were some of the differences between your twin pregnancy and a single pregnancy that you'd like to share?
Okay, well, I would say that everything was different for me. I had 2 kids to take care of already, so I was really on top of my health when I was preparing to have a 3rd and pregnant with a 3rd. As much as you can, get your body in the best shape that you can to carry kids. It really can make a difference in how you feel and the health of your pregnancy.
Pregnancy takes so much energy from you. I felt exhausted just carrying 1 baby, so I can imagine having 2. Your body's enormously exhausted, so what you put into it must be really important.
Yes, if you can get your hands on some pregnancy books specifically for multiples. I really enjoyed a book called When You're Expecting Twins, Triplets, or Quads.
Right.
It helped me know what to give my body with twins and what to expect that would be different. And so with a single baby, I would say that it wasn't as much work getting ready for my third. Obviously we already had things, but
Right.
with twins you do need some gear. You might need double the gear in some
Yeah, of
situations. You have more doctor appointments. You might need to rest more. So having a single baby was kind of like, it was more enjoyable for me because I didn't have as much going on. It was a special experience because I felt like I got to slow down a little bit. If you're able to slow down with twins, that's great. I hope you can. I was working full time and I just had nothing left at the end of the day. So staying home with my third, having siblings to look forward to having the baby, I have really nothing but good things to say about adding that
Right.
third and having that experience for yourself of a single pregnancy.
Of course, which you didn't have first, so it's
Right.
different.
It was a treat for me to go from 2 to 1.
Your twins' birth was premature. You said, how many weeks was it?
We had a scheduled C-section at 36 weeks because one of my kids had growth restriction and basically needed to exit.
Right. And so your birth plan for the twins was a little bit different than for your singleton. So she was born full term, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in terms of having premature babies and going into full term, how was that really different for you?
Okay, so a full-term baby can be almost as demanding as twins with their needs. Premature babies are usually not interested in eating. They're not going to cry. They just want to sleep and keep their bodies growing like they need to. So my twins were on a feeding schedule. We would wake them up to eat. They didn't run the show. Where my third, who was actually late, came into the world
With some opinions.
and eating from the get-go. And I told Sarah it seems like she never stopped ever since. So
My third is a voracious eater. Maybe it's a third thing. How did you bond with the twins differently following a C-section compared to your single delivery?
Okay. When my daughter was born and my labor was over, my husband said that I became a different person, that I sat up and would not stop talking. He said that something turned on inside of me and that I was like, oh, you're so cute to the baby. Mommy's gonna take good care of you. Give her to mommy. I was,
it was a completely different scenario.
It was totally different. The hormones, everything. I was able to nurse her right away, and
she was full term, so she latched immediately.
Yeah, she that was no problem at all. With the twins, it was more of a battle, something I had to battle for them to be able to do, and we had to be patient teaching them how to breastfeed. My memory, though, of seeing my children after my surgery was that I felt numb from the drugs and the surgery, and where my husband was crying and saying these beautiful things about our children, I remember just maybe feeling a little relieved that they were well, but not being able to feel much at all,
Kind
and
of
not
foggy.
understanding. Yeah, not understanding a lot that was going on.
In terms of your routine for the twins being newborns and and the singleton being a newborn, how did your partner really help you with the routine? What did that life look like for you in terms of contrasting the newborn life?
Okay. Newborn twins are a lot of work. I think about stories of people with one, and that can be hard if the baby has colic. Everyone has their issue that makes it challenging. It's just hard, okay?
Right.
But
Going from no kids to any kids is hard.
yes. But managing two, it's double the work. It
Right.
literally is. We like to say that a lot. Having twins is double the joy. I thought my heart would explode at times holding my two children in my hands.
Of course.
But then you do have double the work, and thankfully my husband was able to take 6 weeks, which I know is a luxury. He didn't take his full time that he could have, because we felt like at 6 weeks we were in a good place. So keep that number in mind.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get there in 6 weeks.
So did you do like I'm on, you're on, like shift work, or did you each take a baby, and like how do you do that? How do you decide?
Your kids help you decide, and their needs, your sleep, that will help you decide, your feeding situation. I wanted to breastfeed my twins. I was able to breastfeed our son, but my daughter, with the growth restriction, she was too small, and it took a couple months for her to be able to do that too. So we had some bottle feeding going on with both the kids. So my husband was able, like especially at night, we would do 3-hour shifts. Like you could get a decent amount of sleep, and the other person would be on, and then during the day we just did whatever needed to be done and kind of divided and
survived
and conquered.
Having twins, when I think about it, like if I had to go through it, I would think it's like survival mode. You're doing whatever you can to create your nest and your environment where everything is safest and calmest and most efficient, and everyone gets the most amount of rest.
Make it the best you can for you. So with a single baby, and my kids being 3 when she was born, I needed my husband to take care of the 3-year-olds.
Right, keep him busy.
He was almost completely hands-off with the baby because she was so demanding as far as nursing went. So I felt like we were all in the same house, but we didn't see each other much because my husband was taking care of everything, and I was taking care of this needy baby. So I guess it's pretty consuming. Whether you have 2 or 1, the situations can be different, but it can still look the same, like challenging.
Right. What advice would you give to other twin moms that are expecting, or maybe already have twins? What was most helpful to you?
What was most helpful to me?
In terms of like gear or pregnancy or...
Okay. Well, I wanted to breastfeed, and so another twin parent told me to look into double nursing pillows, because you do need more space.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You do need a chair that'll actually fit a double nursing pillow.
Right.
We loved having a double stroller that we could put both car seats in.
Yeah, that seems very necessary, so you could have them strapped down and contained.
Yeah, because I couldn't carry them from like the car to the grocery store. So that gave me flexibility if I wanted to go out with them in car seats by myself. And we're still using the double stroller. It's the first thing I bought for them, and I'm still using it 4.5 years later.
I can imagine that's super necessary.
Diaper bag, backpack, so your hands are free.
Right.
Those were the big things for us that made a difference.
Wonderful. What advice would you give to other families interacting with twin families, like in terms of play dates, or how to treat your kids fairly, things like that?
Okay. So I'd say that our kids mostly share their friends, so I don't know about play dates alone and special things really yet. This year we've let our twins each do an activity that was special to them, and it was the first time they did something separate from each other. And our more outgoing social child cried probably the first 3 times that his sibling went to her special activity. But after that, he was fine, and it hasn't been an issue. It helps them understand that they're gifted in their own way and have interests, and it's okay that they pursue their different gifting.
And have different people, groups of friends.
And I would also say that when twin families are young, it can be hard for us to pack up all our stuff while the other parent is at work and come to you. So even though we would love our kids to play with other children, it would be nice if you would come to us. Our house is equipped for
of course,
twins.
You have 2 of everything.
And the craziness.
And it would be harder on you to bring, 2 high chairs to someone's house or 2 of everything. So
yeah, and meeting at a house also takes it out of the park, where watching 2 toddlers at a park can sometimes be unsafe.
Yeah, of course, because you're outnumbered.
Yeah.
the general trend, if you're a twin mom and you're just home with just one, like, I can imagine like changing one diaper, not rolling off while doing another.
Having 3 kids now, I still look for the other baby because my first 2 came in 2.
Wow.
So now that I have an odd number, when everything's good, I sit there and I go, what's wrong? Doesn't somebody else like need a diaper change or something? It's funny.
You're always looking over your shoulder.
So I still have twin brain somewhere
Yeah.
in here.
What kind of advice did you receive during your pregnancy that was the most helpful?
Okay. You need a lot of practical advice when you're going to have a baby. It's a big change in your body and you have to prepare physically for twins with all the gear. You can find lists about that anywhere on the internet, but the best advice I received for having twins or any child was from a friend of mine with 13 children now. She's had a miscarriage of her own, and before I had a miscarriage, not knowing that was going to happen, of course, she told me, be grateful for every day you have the privilege of carrying your baby.
Right.
And being pregnant with twins especially is not easy. Having one baby is not easy.
And of course you're nervous.
And there's your nerves, and being my first 2, there's all of the equipment to get, and you're learning everything the first time. It's just harder the first time. But carrying an attitude of gratitude, that it was a privilege to carry twins. It wasn't like a punishment or something.
Right.
And even carrying a grateful heart into a miscarriage and realizing those few days were a blessing, and seeing that there are things to be thankful for. I mean, that's really transformative. Whatever is going to happen to you,
Right.
having that attitude can really carry you a long ways.
Okay, so any concluding thoughts?
Families need support and encouragement because life is hard. And whether somebody planned a 3rd or 4th pregnancy or
Even
not,
at first.
we should be a supportive community to families. Families are the building blocks of our society, and creating an environment where people are ashamed of having more than 2 children it's just not helpful. And
Yeah, because I think back to a time when a lot of people had larger families and it was so common, and now we've all kind of scaled back to the 2 children and a dog idea. So anyone that kind of looks different from that, it's like we feel uncomfortable with our decisions or maybe other people's, and it would be a better use of our time to just appreciate the families that do enjoy having more than 2 or 3 kids, and even children after twins.
yeah.
Great. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate you spending the time away from your kids and your family to talk with me on your front lawn, and you don't know we're talking to a dumpster right now with all of the neighbors coming home. So
Thank you for having me and for having it in your heart to share other mom stories so that we can grow and appreciate each other's informed decisions.
awesome. See you next time. Special shout out to Bethany's husband, who's in the house with all the kids, containing them while they're at the door scratching at us.
Screaming, poop, and all.
And maybe he's feeding them chocolate. I wouldn't discount.